Steve, Anthony Joseph from Sky Sports News in London here. First of all, congratulations and thank you for Thursday. Can you just sum up what the last couple of days have been like, and for yourself personally and also for the team, now that you've had a bit more time to reflect on it?
Obviously a fantastic achievement for this group of players. Something that we've been thinking about and working towards for seems like a long time, but over a year. And thankfully it all came together on the night. But now we have to park that one, put it in the cabinet if you like, and think about it again in April, because before then we're going to have other matches that are really important for us.
Yeah, and what were the celebrations like? How long do they go on for? Have they stopped now? Are you focusing on tomorrow?
No, the celebration stopped on the night, and to be fair to the players and the staff, that we did enjoy ourselves. It was a good night, but it broke up naturally. No, there was nobody forcing anybody to go out. It was a long game. It was 120 minutes, so emotionally and for the players physically and emotionally, they were very tired, so eventually they got to sleep. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed the celebration, as we should do after such a long wait, but now we trained this morning. It was a good training session, and we're getting ready for the game tomorrow.
We were speaking to John Carver earlier this morning, who injured himself in the celebrations. Is there any other injury news or anything for tomorrow?
Obviously, Lyndon Dykes suspended, so without Lyndon, I've got one or two knocks in niggles, and Andy Robertson would be the most doubtful out of the ones that have got a little question mark over them for the game. So we'll give them another 24 hours and we'll see how they are. Unfortunately for John, his injury is a little bit more serious. He's on crutches, but as a member of the coaching staff, it's not so important that John runs up and down the touchline. So unfortunately for John, it was a sore one, and I should emphasise the fact that he got the injury on the pitch, not in the celebrations when they were doing the conga later on. So that's important to mention that.
Yeah, definitely. And on Thursday, you briefly talked about the finances and how it could be beneficial for the SFA qualifying for a major tournament. How detrimental has it been missing out on 10 tournaments, and how much of a benefit is it going to be with getting this extra cash for the development of Scottish football?
I think for the development of the game in Scotland is obviously crucial that the governing body have the funds to back the game at all levels. But I think the question about the finances and whatever is for someone above my head. I'm only the head coach and I look after team affairs, so I think maybe you're better speaking to Ian about that.
And finally, Steve, one of the singers of I Can Boogie says she wants to re-record the song with the Scotland team. Is that going to be the song for the Euros?
I haven't even thought about it, to be honest. We had the celebration, we had the good night after the game, and since then I've been thinking about team selection, Slovakia. Something that can be discussed, I'm sure, with the commercial department and the people involved. But listen, was a good tune, was fitting for the boys to use it, and we had a good night on the back of 2 or 3 different good tunes. But I'll let someone else deal with that.
Cheers, thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve, as you and the players come to terms with your newfound legendary status, I just wonder, you're all celebrating, as you say, in your own little bubble, but how much of the adulation, if you like, from Scotland as a nation have you been able to kind of soak up, given that you've been away from home?
I think obviously the social media aspect and the fact that media is so readily available now, you get a good feel for how the nation is. From what I can gather, we definitely made them smile, we made them happy, which is great. But obviously we're a long way away from it as well, so in a way that's going to help me to get them focused and refocused on the 2 very important games coming up.
You mentioned obviously Lyndon Dykes' suspension anyway and a couple of knocks, but just given the sort of physical and mental exertions, not to mention the celebrations, would you be tempted to probably make more changes for this next game than maybe ordinarily you would between two games like this?
Yeah, yes, The short answer is yes. The long answer probably takes in the fact that the celebrations wouldn't have anything to do with it. Like I said, it was a good celebration, but wasn't crazy, wasn't silly over the top. But yeah, it was a physically draining game, but emotionally also very, very draining for the players who were out there on the pitch. So, like I said earlier, I'll give them another 24 hours. I'll speak to 3 or 4 players that I've maybe got a doubt about going again after such a tough game, and then I'll come up with a team selection that hopefully gets us another 3 points.
Is it helpful in some ways to you that actually Slovakia are in the same boat, that they also played 120 minutes and probably have gone through a similar process?
Yeah, I think both teams will be in a similar frame of mind. The Slovakians obviously had a great result, difficult place to go, Northern Ireland, and get that victory. They had to play 120 minutes as well, so yeah, both teams I think physically will be on a similar pattern.
Steve, you've probably never had in Scottish football so much reward for so few goals. We've had 3 goals in 7 hours of football. We're through to our finals. We're top of our group. That's one area of satisfaction for you, but is it something you'd like to remedy fairly quickly also?
If we keep winning and we keep getting through and we keep being successful, I'm not sure why we should spend so much time worrying about the number of goals scored. It's about the number of points that you get and the number of qualifications you get. So thankfully I can now say that we've got a qualification for the Euro 2020, and we've had a good run of games where we've picked up a lot of points, which has put us in a very strong position in the little group that we're in.
Steve, we've seen clearly what the...
Because of the euphoria at home, has it been difficult to get people to realise that this is also a qualification process?
No, the players understand the importance of the next games, and I think everyone involved with the Scottish team should understand that we're in the Euro 2020 because the path that started under Alex McLeish and his staff and the players at that time 2 years ago, 2018 I think it started, is the path that led us to Euro 2020. So we have, as a nation, we have to understand that it was a very, very important tournament for us, the Nations League. So the next pathway from the Nations League can be to the World Cup Qatar 2022, and that's got to be the target as well.
We'll take a question from Sheila.
Hi Steve, you've talked a lot about the momentum and this great unbeaten run you're going on. How important is that not to alter too much in the mindset and what's going on for these next few games, even though you do have some exhausted players?
No, the mindset will be the same. The players are determined. Obviously they know they're on a really good winning run. We want to take it to double figures, so we can only concentrate on the next game coming up. So the next game, Slovakia, tough game, good opponents, but we want to keep going on the same path. And if we could remain undefeated at the end of this international camp, would be a great boost for everybody going into well, certainly for me, the long winter break where we don't have much international football till next March. So we want to finish on a high.
Has David Marshall earned maybe a wee rest after his heroics?
I'm sure there's a few of them that are sitting there thinking they've earned a rest, but until I finalise the team selection, they won't know whether they're getting a rest or not.
Steve, obviously, if you do make a lot of changes, then you've used a lot of players over the last couple of months with circumstances, and obviously they've now got a huge kind of motivation to put themselves in your thoughts for the squad and the Euros as well. So you'll be confident that if you do make a lot of changes, then the quality will not diminish.
I trust all the players. That's why I select them. Even the ones last month when I brought them into the camp, I trusted them. I put them on the pitch. If they deserve to be on the pitch, they were on the pitch. I watched the training session this morning and I said to one of my coaches, they're already playing for their place at Euro 2020. I could see it in the training. And that's what it's all about now. Like I said, that qualification is in the cupboard, it's ready, it's sitting waiting for us next summer. And all the lads can put themselves in the squad by their performances in the camp or out the camp.
You must feel as well you've got to a stage where everybody knows what job they're doing when they come in because of the system you've installed in the last few months as well. Do you think you've got to that stage now where someone coming in knows exactly what they have to do?
No, I think always when they come in, I think we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We have to remain humble. The performances have to remain honest. And we have to understand that we have to prepare properly for every single game. We have to give the same messages. We have to make sure the players understand what their job is going to be in any particular game, because obviously Slovakia will play slightly different to how Serbia played. So the roles within the game, or the roles within the players' roles within the game will change. So we have to make sure that they fully understand what the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition are.
We have a question from Slovakian media. Steve, what do you say to the fact that Slovakia will also be in Euro 2020?
It's fantastic for Slovakia. I think they've, in recent times, maybe a little bit more difficult for them. Certainly the results that they've had so far in the Nations League, the section that we're in, will probably disappoint them. I see that they've changed the head coach, which is a shame for the lad who lost his job, but there's a big chance for someone else to come in and make his mark.
Any last couple of questions for Steve?
I believe for Slovakia, Marek Hamsik will make his 125th appearance for the side. And how do you set up against a kind of world-class player like that? And also, what are you just in general terms, what are you expecting from Slovakia tomorrow?
It's also similar to ourselves. Maybe they'll rest one or two players, maybe they'll rest 5 or 6 players, we're not sure till we see the team. On Hamsik, I have to say, quality player, has been a quality player for a number of years. It was great to see him on the pitch at Hampden last month, but we managed to keep him reasonably quiet in the game, which is credit to us. But listen, he's a top player. They're a good team with very good players, and we expect a tough night.
Steve, if I could just ask you another quick couple, if you don't mind. There has been a little bit of speculation that the Euros, given the state of the world, that it might not take place across Europe as was originally planned, and it might end up being in just one country. How important for you is it that we play the games, the two at Hampden and the one at Wembley?
Not something I can control, really. I'd like to think that no matter where we play it, whether it's across Europe, which could be difficult given the current circumstances, hopefully by the time we get to next summer, we're in a better position in terms of controlling the virus and maybe getting on top of it and starting to get back to life a little bit more like normal. But I think wherever it is, if we can get some spectators in, get a crowd in, get the atmosphere and get the feel of the full occasion, that would be the most important thing for me. So if it's going to be in one place and supporters can be there, then I think that's a step forward.
Final question.
Just finally, Steve, you mentioned the unbeaten run can potentially go into double digits. I was just looking back, 10 games unbeaten. The last time Scotland did that was in the 1920s. Does that mean anything to you? Sometimes I hear managers and players saying that unbeaten runs or the actual records don't matter, but I mean that's an incredible statistic, is it not?
Yeah, it's an impressive statistic, but we haven't done it. We haven't gone 10 games. We concentrate on the next one. I understand why managers say it's not that important, because it's not. It's what we achieved on Thursday night, nights like that, moments like that, tangible reward. So you get a tangible reward is to win the semi-final against Israel, win the final against Serbia, and you go to a major tournament. The stats and the facts and the figures, that's for other people. We just want to win the next game, which is Slovakia tomorrow.